Tuesday, June 25th, 2024. I am Janet Richardson with the details. 691 students graduated today from the SVG Community College after completing various programs offered by the college. The number of graduates from each division of the college is as follows. Division of Nursing Education 23, Division of Teacher Education 60, Division of Technical and Vocational Education 247, Division of Arts, Sciences and General Studies 361. This year marks the 15th annual amalgamated graduation ceremony of the college held at the Victoria Park under the theme reflecting the spirit of innovation and leadership that the college strives to instill in its students. In his address at today's graduation ceremony, Director of the SVG Community College, Nigel Scott, challenged his senior admin team to consider what the critical areas of need, growth, and development are in the country today and for the future, and reflect on how, as a college, they can best impact for good the nation to meet its national, regional, and international goals, which he said must be an ongoing task if they are going to transform the lives of people, the nation, and the world. Providing some highlights of the academic year for the college, Scott noted that the SVGCC continues to be home for over 2,000 students and that they are working to double this number through several initiatives by 2027.
The two key strategic initiatives to aid us in this are the addition of new programs on all campuses, especially in the health sciences, as we transition our Division of Nursing Education into a Faculty of Health Sciences. This is important if we are going to help our country meet the health sector needs, even as the new acute referral hospital gets ready to break ground at Carnival. The second is the creation in January 2024 of our Center for General and Continuing Education. This center will work in two main ways: taking the SVGCC to the community and bringing the community to the SVGCC. If we are going to be a college for all and promote lifelong learning, we must ensure that persons of all ages and walks of life can access a college education in SVG. As part of our efforts to increase access, we continue to engage our regional and international partners. We are looking to reactivate our MOU with the Faculty of Agriculture at St. Augustine in Trinidad, and we will continue to work with Central Georgia Technical College and the Faculty of Medical Sciences at UWI Cave Hill to build out our health sciences faculty. The Division of Teacher Education also continues to explore other programs with the Joint Board of Teacher Education at UWI Cave Hill.
The college student completion rates, they introduced more deliberate academic advising sessions last year, and they are looking to further develop that process this year. On the achievements of students, Director Scott says they continue to do extremely well, noting that last year 66 of them received national scholarships, exhibitions, and bursaries from the government for their performance in the associate degree programs, as well as the regional CAPE examination.
This increased number is due to the increased quality of the results that our students are producing. For example, in 2023, the pass rate in the regional CAPE examinations was 96.3%, with 18.1% grade 1s and 26.3% grade 2s. In addition, our graduation rate for our associate degree programs is over 70%. Several graduates have also received scholarships from the Republic of China and Taiwan, as well as tuition scholarships to enable them to pursue further studies. Our students also continue to be active in several local, regional, and international competitions, including the Local Tourism Colloquium, the Caribbean STEM Olympiads, the ECCB 2024 Creative Youth Competition, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Essay Writing Competition, the SVG Robotics Team to the first Global Challenge in Singapore in October 2023, the resident British Commissioner for a Day competition, and the NTRC I-Code 784 competition.
Scott also highlighted several staff and faculty achievements and said looking ahead for the next 5 years, he said they will intensify their efforts to restructure the college to make it more responsive to the needs of the country.
We will not only expand our program offerings, but we will also more fully activate our business plan to increase our ability to provide for the needs of our staff and students. In this 21st century, it requires a more sustainable model for higher education that is not as dependent on the central government for our financing. The government does a lot, but we must do our part to complement that. We must become more efficient and effective in all that we do.
Providing the graduates with some advice, the director told them that the theme of today's ceremony, reflecting the spirit of innovation and leadership that the college strives to instill in its students, have serious implications for them as they leave the institution, as they embark on life after college.
You have been gifted with the basic skills, knowledge, and experiences to help you move on to work or further study. There is so much more to learn along the way. However, you must commit to ensuring that you do not become your own worst enemy. Please, I beg you, make wise choices. Think clearly and do not be blinded by the glitter of fast money and glamorous lifestyles. Create your legacy based on honesty, critical thinking, teamwork, strong ethical values, a healthy sense of creativity and curiosity. Be disciplined and be socially, culturally, and environmentally responsible. In the words of Patty Davis, daughter of the former US President Ronald Reagan, that is your legacy on this earth when you leave this earth. How many hearts have you touched? Today, you are a graduate of the SVGCC, where nothing limits excellence. Go forth, create your legacy.
Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Ralph Gonsalves, to address today's graduation ceremony, congratulated the graduates and noted that the college has grown immensely over the last 2 decades.
Over this period too, we have become an integrated community college. We have moved from numbers 500-600 students in total to about 2,650 currently. The college has built an immense reputation over the last 2 decades. Indeed, officials at the University of the West Indies indicate to me that it is among the most esteemed of the community colleges throughout the Caribbean. And we still have other work to do. Today is not the occasion to speak to those, and I listened very carefully to the director. And of course, I've had audiences with the chairman, Professor Warrican, who we are very pleased to have lead in many of the changes which are taking place in the college. I want to continue to give you the commitment, you the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the students, that my government will make available the spaces at the college for all students who meet the matriculation requirements to enter the college, and for you to have an education at the college at very minimal personal cost to you or your family.
The Prime Minister also urged the students to be social individuals and not to think of themselves as an individual in an atomized sense. The Prime Minister also urged more males in the country to take advantage of a college education. With the hurricane season upon us, shelters, including schools, are being inspected to ensure they are ready. That's according to Senior Education Officer Dr. Idelia Ferdinand, who was speaking as a panelist on SVG-TV's Viewpoint program last Sunday, June 23rd. Dr. Ferdinand said 16 schools which are part of the school safety program are being used as hurricane emergency shelters, with the hope that more will be added by September this year.
Add schools to that. So we have a list of criteria in terms of what do we expect the schools, what state do we expect the schools to be in, so that always our schools are, in the best kept condition as much as possible. In our Safe School program, our schools are expected to have school safety plans, and we encourage them not only to have school safety plans, but to be part of the community disaster program and to work with the community groups in terms of disaster planning. We encourage the schools also to ensure that their staff and the students are aware that they need to have family emergency plans. So we work closely with NEMO in terms of training and the capacity building to ensure that our schools are safe, but also that our teachers and students are aware.
Dr. Ferdinand said the Ministry of Education has a hazard guide and a checklist for the various schools that have been active for the last 2 years.
A checklist and their guides in terms of what we expect from our schools in terms of what key messages they may get, helping them to understand the watches and the warning and so on. And, if need be, we also reach out to the Met Office. So it's a close-knit group that we rely on each other for information to ensure that our facilities are safe, that they have the knowledge that they need to make sure that they are prepared. One of the things that we were concerned about was everybody having something that is different. Okay. So we developed a model and we share that model with all of the schools, so they follow a similar guidelines. They submit the plan to us. We have a period where we expect the schools to submit the plan and we review the plan. We are looking at expanding that review process so that NEMO and the fire department could play an integral role in terms of that review.
Additionally, the senior education officer noted that each school has guides to identify different hazards and will develop action plans to suit them.
Fire plan, the tsunami plan, the hurricane plan, and all of the different hazards plan for that specific school. And we provide them with the feedback. They have outlines of the school plan. They identify assembly points, and we review that plan, send it back to them with guidelines that they can use to improve the plans. And I must say that the schools, they've been working on their plans. We find the process is slow in terms of some schools have not really been forthcoming with the plans. And so one of the things that we are looking at is working closely with them. While some schools have gone ahead and they've had simulation exercises and so on, there are some that need additional support. And we've had
CARICOM Day will be observed on July 1st, 2024. Here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Venezuelan Embassy will join SVG in observing the 51st anniversary with a conference and cultural event on Thursday, June 27, 2024, at the Financial Complex. Venezuelan Ambassador to SVG, Francisco Perez, told SVG-TV News that CARICOM and Venezuela continue to share good relations, which will be highlighted at events organized across the region where there is a Venezuelan embassy. Here in SVG, a key aspect of the conference is a reparation.
The government of St. Vincent, or together with the government of St. Vincent, we will have from 9:30 at the Financial Complex in Kingstown, and we will have the three group that I mentioned before, Are We Folk, La Gracia, and the drummers, the SVG Drummer Foundation. We will be presenting what they learn in Venezuela in the cultural aspect, no? For example, I spoke to one of the members of the SVG Drum Foundation, and he said, well, many rhythm that we learn in Venezuela and very rich rhythm, no? That we can reply here.
This year marks 50 years since SVG joined CARICOM. Ambassador Perez said the cultural linkages Venezuela shares with SVG have grown over the years, which will be showcased on Thursday.
The president of the Reparation Commission about reparation, Mr. Odell, here in St. Vincent, the Professor Scott, Cliver Scott, that is historian, and Chucho Garcia, that is also a specialist in reparation. So we will have those two, and of course, if the Prime Minister accepts our invitation, the feature of Prime Minister about all how the Venezuela and St. Vincent and the Caribbean, because it has.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the SVG-TF, is investigating a homicide that occurred on Monday evening in Belmont. The victim has been identified as Kesron Deschamps, a 26-year-old resident of Belmont, who was fatally shot multiple times by an unknown assailant or assailants while at the home of a close relative. Following the shooting, police were notified and subsequently arrived at the scene. The police say Deschamps was immediately transported to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment. The SVG-PF says it is fully committed to a thorough investigation to ensure those responsible for this heinous act are apprehended and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The SVG-PF is appealing to anyone with information that could assist in solving this case and other investigations to come forward and they extend their deepest condolences to the family and friends of the deceased during this difficult time. Deschamps' killing brings the homicide count for this year thus far to 22. As the Carnival season heightens, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is ensuring all measures are in place to keep criminals at bay and clamp down on criminal activities during the festival. The SVG-PF will host its annual crime prevention exhibition this Friday outside the Central Police Station in the capital, Kingstown. Sergeant Stephen Billy of the Crime Prevention Committee of the SVG-PF says the exhibition is being held to educate members of the public, including visitors, on the different levels of crime and provide crime prevention tips to protect themselves and others from falling prey to criminals or becoming victims of crime.
As usual, we have the manpower, we have the checkpoints and things like that that will be in place to stop persons from bringing in weapons into Kingstown and the other venues. Wherever there's a show, there will be police present, police security, to ensure that the rules are adhered to, that persons are kept in check, to make sure that they do not bring any illegal things into the different venues. But what we recognize, persons will find different ways and different means to circumvent these strategies. And police ourselves, by ourselves, cannot really effective, well, not really effective, cannot completely, stem these crimes. But with the public's assistance, we will be more, efficient in doing so. So that's why we are here. We want the public to know that they have a part to play, and we want to give them some tips as how they can play their part to ensure that we have a safer carnival and beyond that for all citizens and visitors alike to our country. Well, the exhibition is basically a collaboration between our stakeholders and the police departments. At the exhibition, we will be displaying a number of crime prevention tips, be it in a form of a leaflet or a brochure, or the security companies displaying their security systems for persons who can use for their homes and their cars. We also will have in the different departments, like the narcotics department, they have the CID department, fire and traffic, to tell people about the different laws and safety tips. The Coast Guard are going to be there as well, and so on.
Sergeant Billy emphasized that everyone has a responsibility to ensure their own security and a role to play in crime prevention.
Because the police cannot be everywhere at the same time, and persons have to understand they have a responsibility to their own security first and foremost, and that is what we are trying to get persons to understand. So as our team says, building resilient communities through crime prevention. So building resilient communities through crime prevention. So that is what we are trying to achieve. This is a team that we have been using for the past 2 or so years, because we think that there is need for people to understand that that if we are going to be resilient, and if we could become resilient communities through crime prevention, we become a safer society, not just for ourselves, but for visitors alike.
The high level of alcohol consumption during the Carnival season, particularly among young people, is a concern for the RSVGPF. Sergeant Elmo Alexander, the officer in charge of criminal records at the Criminal Investigation Department of the RSVGPF, said vendors have a responsibility in this regard and should not sell alcohol to those who are underage. He also urged people to be aware of others who might try to scam them using different methods.
You can look at some person and come in to buy and see that they are maybe a 14-year-old, 15-year-old. They should not be selling any alcohol to those children. So I'm asking the vendors, some of you are parents, and you would not like these things to happen to your children. So I'm advising them, if you see somebody that you believe should not be buying alcohol, you should not sell that alcohol to that young person. Well, as you just said it, the 3 card, then fellas that plays the 3 cards, you will find if there's a table there, 2 or 3 fellas are there, and those fellas, they are friends. So they will act like perfect strangers, like everybody else. You will find them putting a place in a bet, and then the person might win. So you looking at that person, he encouraging you now to place the bet. They will allow you to win 2 or 3 times, and then they will switch up on you. So you following him because he might win 2 or 3 times, and then you win from his actions. You place in your money, you find now you lose once, you lose twice, you lose 3 times. And within your mind, you want to win back that money. So you eventually plug out all the money that you have. And then at the end of the day, you without any money. The business you might come in town to do, you can't do it anymore because you have no more money. So I'm just urging people to be wise. These fellas, they are friends, they operate in a group, so you got to be wise and be smart with your cash when you come in town.